What?
Is this movie universally hated?
Yeah.
You love it, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Relax.
After the insane success of Jurassic World, Steven Spielberg was excited to develop more movies in the franchise, encouraging director Colin Trevorrow to produce a sequel. However, Trevorrow opted to not return due to wanting to pursue other projects, though he did stay on as a writer and producer, stating that he wanted to produce a series of sequels that would feel less episodic and more like part of an overarching story arc.
Trevorrow insisted that he didn't want the movie to be another story about a bunch of dinosaurs chasing people on an island, and instead wanted to explore the idea of other companies besides InGen trying to take advantage of the dinosaurs. It's almost like InGen is Mac, but what if PC gets their hands on it? What if there are 15 different entities around the world who can make a dinosaur?
In addition, Trevorrow wanted the script to more accurately reflect the tone of Michael Crichton's original novels more than any other film thus far. However, his initial drafts were considered far too muddled and busy by the producers, and requested that the movie focus more on Claire and Owen's lives after the events of the last film. Furthermore, though the movie's ending was always kept the same, Trevorrow originally wanted to include more details about the dinosaurs being integrated into the modern world, though this was eventually trimmed to fix pacing issues. By October 2015, J.A. Bayona was considered to direct after Spielberg and Trevorrow were impressed with his films The Orphanage and The Impossible. He had also been considered to direct the last movie, but he declined as he felt there wasn't enough time for him to prepare before production. However, Bayona again turned the job down in favour of directing a sequel to World War Z, but after that film stalled in development hell for several months, he changed his mind and was signed on as director in April 2016.
Bayona met with Trevorrow and became enthusiastic about the project after reading the second half of the script, wanting the story to play out like a haunted house film with dinosaurs. The idea about the dinosaurs being used as living weapons was actually proposed by Spielberg himself. We're moving it into new territory. J.A. Bayona is an incredible director, and I think he'll push the boundaries of what a Jurassic movie is. I think it's important that we take risks.
In fact, Tom Holland was strongly considered for a part in the film, but he eventually opted to not do so due to his contractual obligation to the Avengers franchise. Yeah, we very nearly got Spider-Man versus a T-Rex.
What a tragedy.
Filming ran from February to July 2017, and unlike the previous film, the movie opted to use more practical effects for the dinosaurs rather than relying entirely on CGI, and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was released on June 22nd, 2018.
Like the previous film, it was a gigantic hit, grossing over $1.3 billion worldwide, becoming the 12th highest grossing film in history, but reviews were almost universally negative, many claiming that the franchise was out of ideas and had nothing new or interesting to say. What? A Jurassic Park sequel having no new ideas? What? Just because it's another opening with a bunch of people checking out the area and being mauled by dinosaurs, another establishing shot returning to the island, another film where the hero gets tricked into returning to a dinosaur-infested island, another rich businessman trying to use the dinosaurs for their own financial gain, another genetically invented dinosaur hybrid, another case of them taking dinosaurs off of the island, another game hunter who views the dinosaurs as prizes, and you think that it's a rip-off?
How many times must the point be made?
How have they made 6 of these? The opening is so painfully irritating. They go to a dinosaur-infested island without any weapons and are then surprised when a dinosaur shows up. It's even worse because everyone's screaming at him to run and the dumbass doesn't seem to understand. He even hears a noise and still doesn't do a runner. The ladder sequence is at least new during the escape and it is quite creative, but the lighting is a bit tricky to see what's actually going on. And it is really predictable. Yay, I survived!
The Mosasaurus kill is both terrifying and hilarious at the same time. The establishing shots of Isla Nublar are gorgeous and give us a way better understanding of the geography and landscape of the island than any of the other films, which is fitting because it's the final movie set on the island before it sinks into the sea. The existence of the volcano is straight out of the books and subtly ties Fallen Kingdom to the Lost World really well, where Ludlow explains explicitly that the islands run on geothermal power, which is volcanic.
There she is.
The Loch Ness Monster!
I love the ominous horror atmosphere of the film. It's very true to the writing of the Michael Crichton books. The shadows and silhouettes of the Mosasaurus, the lightning flash revealing the T-Rex. This is the scariest the dinos have been since The Lost World, and that's all on J.A. Bayona's direction.
The whole setup is that a volcano on the island, that we didn't know about beforehand for some reason, is now active, and apparently they monitor this thing ever so closely and are therefore fully aware of the dangers. So this poses a dilemma. Do you rescue the dinosaurs as they are an endangered species, or do you just leave them to die? The thing is, I do actually like this idea, and I think the film has some cool angles to go with before they shift to the dog shit. It is an interesting dilemma, but the truth is, would you really risk your own life to go to an active volcano to save something that can eat or crush you?
They're all gonna die and no one cares.
Well, considering they could crush you at any given moment, yes! My issue is mainly that there's no segue. The last movie had dinosaurs completely wreck a park and kill countless people. We then immediately get thrown into this one, and without any hesitation, without a single second thought, Claire's like, ooh, should we save them? There's no actual build-up. Owen needs convincing, and rightfully so, but he's portrayed as the douchebag despite him actually speaking sense.
You're just gonna let her die?
Well, yeah.
Okay, it's a bit douchey that he doesn't want to protect Blue, but still, would you jump in front of a tiger to protect a deer?
Yes.
I bet you would shoot a defenseless bunny.
I bet you would wrestle a venomous snake to protect an ant.
Rob hit a cat with his car for a laugh.
Yeah, he wrestled a fucking lion to protect a crab.
It has been 3 years since the events of the first Jurassic World, and the Apatosaurus death from that movie was a pretty defining scene in Claire's character development, being the first time she sees the dinosaurs as living beings with feelings rather than products to exploit. So while it's definitely a shift from her character in the original Jurassic World, it's not that drastic a segue.
Claire just comes across as a completely different person from the previous film. It's such a massive leap. Now all of a sudden she's an angel, tree-hugging bitch, and Owen's the massive douchebag.
Claire is just so much more likable here than in the first Jurassic World. Bryce Dallas Howard and the script make the most of the minimal development she had in the first film. She's much more relatable and compelling, almost like a remorseful Dr. Frankenstein.
Bryce Dallas Howard's performance is so good, she even makes dog shit lines like this sound genuine and heartfelt.
It was a lie. Bastard!
The best part of the movie by far is Owen's relationship with Blue. We see him train the baby raptors, and it does have a lot of heart. For all the stuff this film steals from the others, it does try one or two new things, and they're developed really well.
I love how we can really see how physically abandoned Blue feels by Owen. We can see her frustration with him, and it takes a while for her reluctance to trust him to fade away. It's honestly a really beautiful moment when she finally succumbs to his affection and leans in for comfort, which is quickly broken up when the mercenaries show up. And Zia immediately recognizing the danger of the situation and demonstrating her value as a paleo vet and saving Blue's life is actually a really smart character decision.
There is a really nice scene where Maisie watches a video of Owen training the raptors, and it's all intercut with Blue being tended to. Oh, and it wouldn't be a Jurassic World film without Owen and Claire being distant for the entire movie and then randomly kissing for no reason and inexplicably becoming a couple again. It's the same movie again!
This is definitely Chris Pratt's best performance. It's a lot darker and more brooding than the usual goofy man-child role that he's typecast into. The relationship he has with Blue is the real heart of the film, and I love the way that the video logs of him and baby Blue humanize Owen, despite his colder personality after the trauma of the first Jurassic World.
Remember, you're the one who made me come.
He can make me come.
As gross as the Sinoceratops scene is, I really don't blame him for wanting to lick Chris Pratt.
I'll give the movie this much. The special effects have vastly improved since the last one. At least they actually look like something is really there. Some wide shots are a bit questionable, but the close-ups look insane. It's a huge upgrade.
Bringing back animatronics for the T-Rex definitely makes a world of difference. The first Jurassic World was sorely lacking practical effects. The T-Rex looks so much more realistic here.
They have to draw its blood, which is quite a suspenseful scene, but you can tell exactly what's going to happen and when. It is all so cliched. The escape off the island looks great. The T-Rex is far too occupied trying to survive to eat them, and it's a great spectacle watching all of the animals just running for their lives. And let's face it, Chris Pratt running away from any explosion is automatically awesome.
To be fair, the stampede sequence also really helps to give the dinosaurs more personality as well. The Carnotaurus being the ravenous and bloodthirsty wild card endangering everyone, the T-Rex being the queen of the island trying to maintain order pressure for everyone's survival.
They fall off a cliff and this scene is really well done. The entire shot is through POV and it adds to the claustrophobia of the scene. It is also quite sad to see all of the dinosaurs tragically drowning to death.
It's horrific imagery and some of the darkest in the entire series.
We gotta get out.
No, I was quite enjoying this enclosed ride in the fucking ocean. They escape and look back to see dinosaurs engulfed in smoke and fire, dying and screaming for help. It is quite sad. The movie has a lot of heart and this is what I'm here for. It's something new that The Lost World tried vaguely, but this film really goes all out on it. And it doesn't matter how much Goldblum you try to sneak into your film, you're not tricking my ass. Poor guy is wasted here.
I will admit, that is entirely pointless.
John Alfred Hammond, the father of Jurassic Park. And of course you know that.
I am the generic rich businessman of this picture.
Eli Mills is the best human villain in the series. Rafi Spall's performance is really charismatic in a chameleon-like way, in that he's quick to change his personality and tone to schmooze anyone he wants to manipulate, just like a real-life narcissist. Hell, he's even the most evil villain in the franchise, willing to commit murder and exploitation of children. Him snapping at Maisie and then switching to faux concern and innocence, and then right back to demanding with Ken Wheatley is a great example of his narcissism on display.
I'm not even sure what's worse, the fact that they're using another rich businessman trying to sell dinosaurs, or the fact he's trying to convince a guy who for some reason doesn't seem to realise dinosaurs are alive and are really on their way. I just want to know how the hell they managed to capture the T-Rex. That could have been its own movie altogether.
This was all John Hammond's dream. To let these creatures live in peace.
No, it wasn't. John Hammond wanted to literally capture all these dinosaurs, put them behind bars so random members of the public could stick their ugly faces up against it and be like, oh, look, it's a Triceratops. He was a crazy old kook. Maybe it's just me, but when it's the 5th time we've done the it's just tedious. Yes, they're dinosaurs, we get it.
Never thought I'd see one in real life.
You're a dinosaur expert and you never thought you would see one in real life. In a world where dinosaurs are now in real life. And these are the people they take with them. They take a useless nerd called Franklin who is so annoying and just screams at everything. You'd think he'd be used to weird creatures having a pet Pikachu and everything.
Nah, Franklin is the funniest comic relief character I've seen in a blockbuster in years. He's like an Abbott and Costello character and lets the film be very funny without sacrificing the gothic horror tone.
Owen gets tranquilized and we get one of the most painful moments of the entire film. And trust me, that is saying something. He goes limp and we get some of the worst CGI molten lava you will ever see straight from the studio that gave us Spawn. And Owen then plays Invisible Twister by himself to avoid it. This is ridiculous. Look at it. He should also be severely burned and disfigured. The lava doesn't have to touch you guys. Why is he acting like Mr. Bean on sleeping pills?
I actually really like the lava sequence. It's a great example of a simple suspense scene that harkens back to those of the original Jurassic Park.
Good thing they faced the world's slowest dinosaur though. Very convenient.
Go! Get on the boat! Get on the boat now! Go!
Get on the boat now! Get on the boat now! I am an actor! Get on the boat now!
This guy is the worst actor I've ever seen in a great movie. It's like he knows he only has 4 seconds of screen time and is trying to steal the show. It's hilarious!
From the moment they leave the island, the film immediately plummets into the dog shit pile. The first 45 minutes intrigued me and had cool new ideas to go with. But then it just falls into mediocrity and becomes the exact same Jurassic Park movie we've now seen 5 times! The new hybrid raptor does look pretty cool. It is a standard raptor, just slightly bigger, but the design is pretty creepy.
Not only is it a terrifying menace, but it's also consistently portrayed as sympathetic, even reaching out to Maisie for help. The poor thing is locked in a tiny cage that can barely move it, regularly shocked with cattle prods. He's like a modernized take on Frankenstein's monster. Creepy and unsettling, sure, but also very lonely and scared. I think the editors having this scene immediately follow Maisie watching Owen bond with velociraptors, and Wu shouting,
It needs a mother!
was very much intentional.
Although it's hyped as being this highly intelligent killer, but then stumbles over everything, struggles to find them in the same room, and can't seem to smell anyone.
Well, it's heavily implied by the way the guards treat him, plus the rough scarring and flaky skin, that the Indoraptor was pretty heavily abused. So while it is a great hunter, it's not exactly in top health either.
A heightened sense of smell and trained to respond to a pulse-coded laser targeting system, enabling it to isolate and track prey in complex environments. A heightened sense of smell, a heightened sense of smell, a heightened sense of smell, a heightened sense of smell.
Why do they specifically keep making these eating machines? I mean, at least with the Indominus Rex, you could argue it was part of a theme park, so it's for entertainment purposes. But here, they have literally designed a dinosaur to eat people, and are then shocked when the dinosaur eats people.
I mean, given it's being sold to warlords, kingpins, and despots, I'd assume that the killing machine was bred for the purposes of, killing people.
They even turn it into a cartoon character. Look at it, it's smiling. They'll never know. I mean, this, in addition to Blue, shows that this is the first movie that actually tries to give the dinosaurs a lot more personality than the humans, which is nice. It works with Blue, but not so much with this fucker. Alright, I'll let them off because this looks cool.
Speaking of the Indoraptor's personality, I absolutely love his relationship with Maisie. It seems to imprint on her from that very first scene of them meeting, and it shows that it passes on several chances to kill her to merely observe her. It'll attack when she screams, as it's trained to attack when hearing a high-pitched noise, but apart from that, it seems to have genuine curiosity and even affection for her. It only adds to the sympathy that I already hold for the Indoraptor, and makes me wonder what would have happened in that last scene it shares with Maisie had Owen not intervened.
Naturally, the best place to hide is on top of the bed, little idiot. Admittedly, there is some decent suspense as the Indoraptor creeps on the rooftop and looks for Maisie. Of course, it is a bit predictable. Blue shows up for the save, and to be fair, she puts up a pretty good fight considering she's up against a fucking hybrid.
That final look that the Indoraptor gives our heroes right before Blue takes it out fascinates me every time I watch this film. It's not a look of anger or fury, but more one of sadness. Its predecessor, the Indominus Rex, was an unthinking beast that never really seemed to contemplate its own existence. The Indoraptor, on the other hand, was a being that seemed genuinely lost and troubled in its lack of identity, in its destiny to be nothing more than a killing machine. While the Indoraptor may not get Frankenstein's monsters "we belong dead" moment of destructive self-awareness, that blinking hesitance it shows in dispatching Owen and Maisie is a surprisingly personal and staying moment for a blockbuster that every critic seemed to write off as dumb, soulless, and loud.
What does it take to kill these assholes? They just never seem to die, and they're able to do all of this without being spotted ever. Henry Wu's been here since the very first film and apparently still hasn't learned his lesson. What does it take?
At least he actually has a character here. I'll take a campy, flamboyant Dr. Pretorius homage over the nothing exposition device from the original film.
Hell, the villain speaks his mind to Owen and Claire, and the thing is, he's not even wrong.
You exploited a living thing in a cage for money. How is that different, huh? And you, the man who proved raptors can follow orders. You never thought about the applications of your research, Owen?
They discuss the wonderment of dinosaurs, and it is quite a touching moment. She blames herself, Owen defends her, and ultimately it is entirely her fault, but let's pretend it's not so we can all go, aww.
As far as everybody else is concerned, they burned up on the island.
So, there's no reason to not just shoot them right now then. There is a weird scene where all these rich fellas start auctioning off dinosaurs. It's pretty fucked up, but what the hell are they even gonna do with them? It's not like they could just put them in a hutch in their back garden. They're fucking dinosaurs!
The dinosaur auction is admittedly a very silly idea, but it is kind of fun in a goofy way. And once again, the editing is exceptional, splicing the raising bids with the Stiggy Moloch gradually breaking down the walls of Owen's cell.
But have Owen make dinosaurs look like dumbass Looney Tunes characters to escape. They are destroying all of these creatures.
Huh? We're gonna stop this. All of it.
How? What, you gonna go back in time before Hammond decided to play God?
Yeah, don't give the sequels any ideas, guys. Oh, and it turns out Maisie is also a clone! I mean, this is a franchise where they've cloned dinosaurs, so it'd be a bit hypocritical to point out the lack of logic in human cloning. But the issue is, it doesn't affect a whole lot in this film. It's mainly sequel bait for the next movie to fuck up. The point of it is that later on, the dinosaurs are trapped and are about to die, and Claire can't bring herself to save them, but Maisie decides to. It's because she's a clone, and she can relate to the animals, so she feels it's her duty to rescue them. That's the only reason she's a clone in this, but it still doesn't quite add up.
I had to. They're alive. Like me.
So was Ted Bundy. I didn't see anybody rushing to save him. No, I'm sorry, but how many lives does Maisie risk at the end here? Even the herbivores would have crushed innocent people. This is a terrible idea. You doomed us all, you selfish little bitch.
Maisie is the best human character in the entire franchise. I love her obsession with dinosaurs and animals. It isn't warped by the near-death experiences she has with them, like with Owen or Alan, and it doesn't come from a place of misguided but well-intentioned saviorism, like with Claire. She just genuinely loves them unconditionally. Ultimately, they become the only beings she can really relate to, and her first scene does a wonderful job setting up her arc. Isabella Sermon's performance is also outstanding, and really gets across Maisie's passion for dinos. And her being a clone made to be exploited also helps explain why the Indoraptor gravitated to her so quickly, on top of being the only person that didn't try to hurt or imprison the animal. And yes, because the scene is severely overhated, I will be defending her choice to push the button.
Oh boy, here we go.
Maisie is a character in a crisis of identity, in a minor scale in the beginning with her preference of dinosaurs and animals to people, and on a major scale when she discovers the horrifying truth of her origins. This is one of the major reasons why the Indoraptor ultimately ends up imprinting on her. This is foreshadowed in the rather touching and emotional scene where Maisie is watching video logs of Owen raising Blue. Perhaps the happiest and most herself that Maisie has been in the entire film, having someone who once felt the way that she does about these magnificent creatures. Only, unlike Owen, she never gives up on them. Her innocence is her strength. Without Owen and Claire, she likely would have nowhere else to go but the hands of the unscrupulous and corrupt Eli Mills, who likely would have exploited her the same way he exploited all of InGen's other biological attractions. Mills even scoffs mockingly at the idea that Maisie could ever have a normal life, raised by the two former Jurassic World crew members.
So, you're gonna take care of her now, huh? You have no idea what she is.
Her decision to set the dinosaurs free and look at them as living animals with feelings and not merely artificial experiments to be used or destroyed is the only way that this film could have ended from the moment she makes her first appearance, and a bittersweet moment of relief and hope in a very dark and often hopeless movie.
It also upset a lot of people because the trailer showed dinosaurs in civilization. A lot of people felt like the Lost World missed the ball by having a dinosaur in a city, so they had the chance to do it right and they don't. They have a secluded fight, the hybrid has an anticlimactic death, and the movie then ends with them entering civilization. What a cock tease! I mean, the montage is pretty cool and the dialogue well written, and it genuinely makes me excited to see what the next movie will entail because it definitely won't disappoint. I don't think Fallen Kingdom is as bad as everyone says. The first 45 minutes is pretty good and it does have some heart and great ideas, but then it drops off the edge for me. It just then steals and rehashes ideas from the previous films which used them better, and it just becomes another generic, pointless dinosaur film, lying to their audience and saving the best part for the final few seconds. The franchise was certainly running out of gas by this point.
Legitimately breaks my heart not only that the film is so hated, one of the few franchise blockbusters I can legitimately call a masterpiece, but that the criticisms used against it are so dumbfounding and more grounded in a place of rose-tinted glasses and preference rather than quality. People will compare Fallen Kingdom to the original Jurassic Park and think that when it doesn't serve the same purpose, they found a flaw. No movie is perfect, and this isn't the Jurassic film that I would have made, but that's not a problem. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom swung for the fences, trying to create a personal, dark, and tragic gothic horror in a franchise that hasn't always been treated with proper respect, and succeeded with flying colors. I'm gonna give Fallen Kingdom an A.
Will would single-handedly take on a bear just to save a grasshopper. He would throw himself in front of a bullet and then swim with sharks just to try to stop a stick. Fuck. Will would wrestle a grizzly bear and then swim with sharks just on the off chance he might be able to protect a stick insect.